It was a quiet night, the kind where every creak of the house seemed amplified. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows. Inside, a strange stillness hung in the air, as if the house itself was holding its breath. The lights flickered once, casting shadows that seemed to dance against the walls. The house, though well kept, had an unsettling feel to it. The room, dimly lit, felt both empty and full, empty of life, yet thick with something unseen. On one particular wall, something caught the eye, a faint handprint, fresh and smeared across the surface. At first it was easy to dismiss it as a trick of the light, or perhaps a shadow playing with the paint, but as the room seemed to close in, the handprint remained unnaturally distinct. The air turned colder, more oppressive. A single handprint was all it took to set the nerves on edge. Days passed, but the print didn't fade. In fact, it grew. Slowly at first, but unmistakably. The handprint was no longer a single mark. Now there were several. High up on the wall where no one could possibly reach, a row of handprints appeared, their edges blurred, as though something had smeared its hands across the wall. Each night, the handprints grew clearer, darker. They were no longer mere impressions. They looked as if they had been burned into the wall, permanent and undeniable. No one could explain it. It wasn't just the handprints. Strange things began to happen. Objects moved when no one was looking. Doors slammed shut without warning, and the air grew thick, like something was breathing just behind them. The house felt colder, darker, as if it were hiding something sinister. The handprints, those horrible, unnatural marks, seemed to pulse with an eerie energy, growing more prominent with each passing day. And with every new print, the terror deepened. It was as though something was clawing its way out from behind the wall, trying to break free. The family, desperate for answers, called in experts. Ghost hunters, spiritualists, anyone who might provide an explanation. But each of them was baffled. The handprints couldn't be explained. They were too real, too vivid. No one could figure out why they appeared or why they wouldn't disappear. Despite the efforts to wipe them clean, the marks remained, as fresh as the first day they appeared. One night, someone decided to test the handprints. They rubbed their fingers against the wall as if to challenge whatever was there. The feeling was wrong, cold, slick, as if they were touching something that didn't belong. The whispers began shortly after. At first, they were faint, a hushed sound barely audible over the wind, but soon they became clear. Voices. The voice of a child, a woman's sobs, and sometimes the whisper would form words, threatening, pleading, demanding. One night, as the family gathered in the room trying to find any sort of logic in the madness, the air grew heavy. A man stood in front of the wall, staring at the prints. He could feel the eyes of something unseen watching him. And then, a voice, barely a breath, whispered into his ear.
"You shouldn't have ignored me."
The wall, once seemingly innocent, now felt alive, as if the prints were part of something far darker. They stretched and morphed, covering the entire wall. The prints appeared to be reaching out, curling like fingers against the paint, their edges sharp and jagged. And then, one night, the family was gone. No one knew what happened to them. The house, now abandoned, seemed emptier than ever. The prints remained, still vivid, still fresh. Those who dared approach the house claimed to feel a cold presence lingering in the air, a chill that sank deep into the bones. The house stood empty, but the marks never faded. Over time, the stories of the handprints began to spread, whispered from person to person. But no one could explain them, and no one dared to enter the house again. They say the handprints still remain, untouched by time. The house, now just a shell of its former self, is forgotten by most. But those who visit late at night claim they can hear the whispers, the soft, pleading voices, coming from within the walls. And as the wind howls through the empty windows, there's a chilling certainty that whatever made those handprints is still waiting, still watching, and it may not be finished yet. So, The next time you think about bringing something back from your past, whether it's an old house, a memory, or something even darker, remember, some things are better left untouched. If you enjoyed this chilling tale and want to hear more sinister stories like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And right now, there's another dark story waiting for you on the screen. Watch it if you dare. But beware, some things are not meant to be ours.